40K Fanatics podcast here. I'm Shane.
And I'm Casey.
Casey, too far from the mic.
And we're a little bit heated up in here.
Your fellow host here. We cannot, I hereby decree, we cannot start another Star Wars podcast. There are too many, and there is literally not an inch of ground in the Tatooine desert that can be covered any further. It has to stop. We just, before we turned on the mics, got to a stopping point of a Star Wars discussion. And while I have many good points, I have a TED Talk about these things, we cannot do it. It's too much.
It's so spicy in here. A salamander just buried his brother in my floor.
I don't know what that means.
It's a 40K reference.
You told me to ask you about your nephew.
Yes, let me tell you, Shane. It is always a pleasant day whenever a loved one, a family, friend, whatever have you, someone close and beloved to you says, I want to get into your hobby. I want to love the thing that you love because you're so passionate about it. I think it's cool. Show me the way.
This is the way.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, your nephew walks up and says, hey, I want to be into 40K like you. How do I start? And I'm like, oh, you're into 40K? What army would you like? And then they reply,
sometimes I dream that he is me and I am him like Mike. What?
And then they reply, Tau.
This is like cousin by blood, or is this somebody?
This is my nephew.
Oh, is this some nephew by blood, or is this some stepkid or something like that?
I almost beat him like a stepkid.
Man, you got to get rid of this person. You got to get that sort of negativity out of your life.
Gosh, I know, right?
Only the lamest of lame people play Tau. Shout out the homie Dallas. He's gonna like that. He's gonna appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey Dallas, what's up? Okay, so yes, I was at a family function recently. My nephew comes in and asks me a bunch of questions about Warhammer, a little bit about the podcast, what factions I play, and what you do to get started. And then he tells me, yeah, I think I want to play Tau. Man.
It would sure be a uplifting resolution to the story if you were to then find out that he's bought like 2 of the Kroot starter boxes.
I told him, you know what? There's some Kroot stuff coming out. Buy that.
It's out, man. I've seen it. It looks good.
It does look good.
Speaking of the homie Dallas, he's playing the Tau in the local league that's about to start, and he's like, man, I played him at a GT the other day, and it was so fun. He's like, I forgot how fun Tau is because Dallas has got more money since, and he's got too many armies, and he's like, I just love him, man. I love him. So he's tuning up his paint job some more. He's going to play him in the league, and he said, we just can't fight. I said, yes, you can. He's like, we don't have anything that fights. I said, got them Kroot. He's like,
does.
He's like, oh, he said, somebody's got those Kroot. I said, you need to have those Kroot. They are cool.
They look really cool. The redesign has been dope.
Orc light a little bit.
Very orc-like.
Have you seen the, I think I saw it on the 40K X handle, the Warcom, whatever the heck it is, one of those official ones where they asked for people's multicolored Kroot, and people are doing them in all sorts of colors, and they look great every time.
And yeah, they're not just varying shades of brown or green. They look, I saw one with a lizard, like, what is it? A lizard mount that was like color shifting. It was particularly dope.
Chameleon Kroot.
I know, right? Isn't that cool?
Kroot, chameleon. I'm singing
so
today.
Shane, you want to open that bits box?
We might as well open the bits box. We don't have anything to clean up from last week about the female custodies.
Yeah, we
probably got all we could out of the clickbaity titles. We beat it to death.
It was already dead, and we beat it some more.
We beat that woman, custody. What? Topic.
What have you done in the hobby today and this week, Shane?
Well, today, nothing. This week, I've been working on Judge Dredd stuff. So, a thing happened. As some of you may know, I am going off the market. I'm sorry, boys and girls, but I'm getting married, like, not next episode, but the episode after that, I think I will be betrothed.
Shout out to the homie Valerie.
Shout out to the homie Valerie. Couldn't do it without her, clearly. But we had some people keep asking us about a wedding registry, right? And they're like, can we get you gifts? What do you need? Da da da. Now, at first we weren't going to do anything like that because I find the concept of a registry to be a little bit in poor taste. It's like, here's a bunch of stuff that I would like to have. Buy it for me, thank you. I don't like that. However, once people indicated that they were going to send gifts, I said to her, we're nearly 40 years old. We have traditional wedding gift, homemaking stuff in triplicate.
You asked for models, didn't you?
I did ask for models.
I knew it.
I've got... we have been gifted and we have received nearly the entire Judge Dredd miniatures game from Warlord Games. Nearly the entire range. So I've been working on some robots there. I did a security bot, which is like a cop bot, and I did a demo bot who I experimented with some yellow inks to make him yellow. I primed him black, dry brushed him white quite heavily, sprayed him yellow, and then he turned a bit green. You've had some experience with this when you were doing those Imperial Fists.
Yes.
Yellow wants to turn green so quick if you're not careful. So what I did then, waited on that ink to dry brushed it again, hit it with more yellow, and now he is yellow.
Man, I gotta say, I love that you're working with inks.
It's a lot of fun. They spray so easy. I also got my Vindicator tank done. I'm having a little bit of trouble with varnish, so I ordered up. So back up. I've got the Army Painter varnish that you spray through the airbrush. It does not spray very well through the airbrush. I don't think I've got enough pressure to really move that. It gums up immediately. So I got a rattle can varnish, and it has put like white residue in places on my Vindicator tank. So either I got too much on it or something. However, at the initial spritz of it, it looked speckly and not very well covered. So I'm just not sure what to do with that. I've been told that you can water down varnish and brush it on, but then I'm like, man, that sounds like Streakosaurus Rex on something like a tank where you've got a lot of big surfaces. So I'm not sure.
Maybe you should try makeup brushes.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, certainly bigger brushes would be the way to avoid the streakiness, but...
No, like the spongy kind.
Oh, like the styrofoam brushes type thing, maybe even?
Yeah, I think so. They're like little plastic sticks with the round egg-shaped ends,
Yeah?
I see a lot of people using them.
For varnish?
For varnish, for oil washes, for... What is it called? The streaking grime?
Well, see, I'm aware of that, but that's usually to take stuff off. So you get some rub. But
I see.
Yeah, but I need to put the varnish on, and I need it to not be speckly, streaky, or built up.
Okay.
Because with that Vindicator tank, I did some pigment powders, got some dirt and some mud on it, is what it looks like, and I wanted to have that stuff not come off.
Proper grimdark stuff. People.
Right, it looks good. I just don't believe that the Chaos Space Marines would be running these things through the car wash very often. But anyway, you got to look close to tell. It's hard to tell, but I know it's there, and that is a point of frustration. Also, it's a concern for other models. Like, for instance, another thing that I worked on is Aura Singh, the female purple skin, orange clad bounty hunter from Star Wars Shatterpoint.
Yeah.
Now those are
love Aura Singh.
Yeah, those are game pieces, like proper skirmish game pieces that you're handling continually. So I need those varnished, and I'm trying too damn hard on these paint jobs to mess them up with a varnish pass. So I need to come up with a solution. Then fast forward after that, I also did I started the Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Nowhere to Run diorama set. So this is another Shatterpoint figure. It's the Obi-Wan from the Obi-Wan show, who stands opposite Darth Vader on the included terrain bits. And he looks good.
It's a cool box.
You know what, though?
Does a lot of terrain come with that?
No, it just sort of comes with this diorama piece.
Oh, okay.
But I've got more Shatterpoint terrain than is necessary to play. Like, we've got options at this stage. But here's a observation that I've made with the Shatterpoint characters. Some of them are more fun to paint than others. So I kind of did Aura Seeing the night before I took Obi-Wan out to the hobby night. And Obi-Wan is wearing a cream-colored gi, essentially, right? Like a martial artist ninja thing with a loose neck. And then over that, he's got a brown wool cloak, hooded cape cloak thingy.
Jedi robe, yeah.
Yeah, Jedi robe thing. Those are not very interesting things to paint.
They are not.
And I looked at pictures from the show as reference material, and I mean, I just busted out the old dirt brown and painted it brown, and then I added some white to get a lighter dirt brown and highlighted the edges, and it looks fine. You look at it from gaming distance, and there's something happening with it, so that it's not just a brown blob, but
looks like there's a light source. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks like there's some sort of texture. There's something happening on it, but the way to do
still pretty basic.
The way to do that figure would be to do the like blue and red OSL that I'm sure everybody and their brother has done. Because it's a diorama set. But I am not trying to do that because that sounds hard. And also then neither he nor the Vader from that set would match the rest of the collection that we're always playing with. So I did them kind of as they may stand alone.
Yeah, I painted a Watcher in the Dark and an Azrael pretty recently. And man, the main thing I worried about painting the most was the robes. Just because it takes up the most of the figure. What you're going to be mostly looking at it, so if any little flaw in it, you're going to notice it.
Yeah, I don't have any problem painting robes or cloaks or anything like that, or capes. It's the fact that it's brown wool.
Yeah, you want it to be interesting.
Yeah, and some of the Star Wars characters' outfits, especially the ones that are much more live action, are super basic, and they don't make for the greatest miniature paint jobs, I don't think. Unless you zhuzh them up with some sort of special effect, if you will. But then contrast that, Aura Seeing, she's purple, like super light purple, in a orange jumpsuit thing. So I got to do her in orange and purple and then highlight her up to nearly white. The highlights on her jumpsuit are like creamsicle color. Like, how fun was that?
Hate creamsicle.
I quite enjoy me a creamsicle.
I hate creamsicle. It's gross.
What else have I done? I don't know if anything else. Me and the homie Valerie may play Judge Dredd tonight. We got the new Block War rules, which are cool because in Block War nobody can be the Justice Department, but you have Block War cards. So I've got a gang, you've got a gang, and we just make them up however we want. You can sort of pick from anything. And then when the game starts, you each draw some Block War cards, and they may be like, there's a judge coming to wreck shop. And so whoever drew that card then
there's a new sheriff in town. Then
gets a judge to run. So both people can have judges to run. They can never attack one another, but then you've got this third party element of very powerful duders out there wrecking shop. So and
Jimmy or Jams?
It does indeed. It does indeed. Yeah, so continuing with that story about the wedding registry and all that sort of thing, we had a very lovely friend who doesn't listen to the pod, but she went crazy and bought the entire thing out. And then my mother hit me up and was like, "Hey, are you registered anywhere?" I was thinking about getting you, I was thinking about getting you some plates, and I'm like, "Oh no."
You're like, Mom, that's so contrived.
Well, also, I got plates. Valerie's got plates.
Exactly.
I've had other partners.
You're old.
Add plates. She's had other marriages. She's got plates from, way back, right? We don't need any of that stuff. So she added some little odds and ends, and I said, I don't really know. But Bolt Action 3rd edition is coming out soon, which is the World War II game.
I've heard about that.
So somebody might have Somebody might have
dropped some hints.
Well, I might have put the Band of Brothers box set
Oh no.
in the registry, and
oh no.
I don't know who, but somebody's purchased it.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm gonna play Historicals.
This guy.
That's my bits box.
An Astra Militarum player in the making. So, moving on to my bits box. My bits box has been pretty boring. Honestly, just knocking out commission after commission. And then getting hit up for more commissions. Getting hit up for more. It's been fun. I'm hitting burnout so hard. A lot of my minis that I've got for myself are half painted that I need to paint. But a shining light has come upon the horizon. A shining green light that has come down from my local game shop. The Orc Codex is here, ladies and gentlemen. I got me the Codex. I got me the index cards, and I am ready to lay waste with my wall.
I'm still going to knock you down.
I mean, you're going to try.
I
just got a Codex refresh, and I'm ready to take people out.
I got a fresh tank. You don't got no answer.
We'll see.
I'm calling you out.
Green Tide, Great Hunt, Bully Boys. Let's see what I throw out, Shane. Moving on.
It's just going to be the one where you push the button.
It's probably going to be not that button. Oh man. So yeah, I'm going to close my bits box. That's all for me. And that's all for you, Shane?
That's it.
Okay. Closing the bits box. Shane.
Casey, it's a lore pod.
It's a lore pod.
Lore pod. A lore pod.
What do we... oh, man. What am I asking you for? Of course, I know what the lore pod is about.
I'm not even certain.
Yeah, but I'm going to start this one off a little bit differently.
Ooh, are you going to read to us?
I am good. Well, I thought about reading to you. I've got a little bit of fun facts get it ready to throw your way. I've also got a little bit of a story to tell you.
I'm just going to let you cook.
I was also going to ask you a few questions and see how you felt.
I'm just going to see how long it takes you to mention who we're talking about today.
Me too. So let's take you on back to the ripe old days of 2018. Gosh, how long ago was that?
That was 5 years ago.
5 years? You sure?
6? How many?
18, 19, 20,
6 years ago.
24. 6 years. Yeah, I was right.
It's going to be 2023 for me for a while.
Yeah, and we're 5 months into 2024. So, take you on back to the old days of 2018. New reveals had just come out for Warhammer 40K. Lots of really cool stuff, and Games Workshop was cooking. We had a little encounter and a lot of reveals given to us based on the old Vigilus Crusade book. Have you heard about this?
No, I'm not familiar with Vigilus Crusade.
So they had something called the Battle of the Beasts, which was sort of a crusade, what we would call the equivalent of a crusade back in 2018, kind of a system. They updated it to continue the story from there, and they called it Crusade Vigilus, I believe, in Imperium Nihilus. We all knew about the Primaris Marines. They were brand new hotness, and a few reveals had just come our way to reinforce that Primaris were here to stay. So to set the scene upon our beleaguered world of Vigilus, the sky had been rended open, the Imperium torn asunder. Imperium is now Imperium Secundus and Imperium Nihilus. Humanity can only make brief, small warp jumps throughout any form of the Milky Way galaxy. But for a few different places, much like the Kessel Run in Star Wars, the Nachman Gauntlet was one of the few secure ports of travel through the Red Scar for the Imperium. And that is using the safe term loosely. Right next to this opening is the Sentinel world of Vigilus, victim of the War of Beasts, just recovering from a brutal battle. From orc speedwaws to the uprising of gene stealer cults, the PDF of this beleaguered and smacked up world. Look up and notice a hero rising in the mist. A noble warrior with an amazing jawline and crazy azul armor. The man, the myth, the legend. Marneus Calgar. Chapter Master of the Ultramarines. It is at that point that Games Workshop releases the Primaris model of Marneus Calgar and his 2 Victrix guards.
Yet another named character to survive the Rubicon Primaris.
First.
That is told to be oh so dangerous.
Yeah. They even call like firstborns turning into Primaris the Calgarian rights.
It's just the funniest thing that they're batting 1,000 on named characters on this Rubicon Primaris.
Know, right? It's so weird.
It's so dangerous. But by God, these guys that we know the name of, they haven't lost one yet.
Haven't, no. Tons of chaff. None of the characters. You don't wear a helmet. You have a name. Man, he's gonna live. By gosh, is he gonna live?
Who's that guy? Who's the doctor? I think he's down in Alabama that has the experimental Achilles surgery or whatever that he does only on top athletes, and he's just booked up. You know, they helicopter him in, and you're guaranteed to be back on the field feeling great in no time. Like that's who they get.
Apparently, his name's Belisarius Call.
Yeah. Anytime they're coming through, hey, this guy's been written about. We're gonna need our A game.
Yeah.
you nameless firstborn, you get Carl.
So. Marneus Calgar gets his new model reveal. He gets the Victrix Guard, and we get the new Crusade elements of Vigilis for all the 40k fans to play and have so much fun with. But you can't have a hero without the ultimate villain.
Ooh, is this our topic now?
This is our topic, sir.
Yeah, man, I tell you, we have thrown an absolute curveball at the folks because everybody thought, oh, they're going to do Marneus Calgar. But no, we're not. Who was his opposite?
A dark shadow falls upon a world of Vigilis. A cry shrieks throughout the sky, and a long lance of light crashes into the ground, followed by a black figure in gold and black, hailing from the sky with his flock of crows behind him. Haarken, Worldclaimer.
My boy.
Your boy.
Does he have a model?
He does have a model.
Boy, do I know it. I'm going to have to take a picture of him and post him for you guys to go out in concert with this podcast.
Now, Haarken Worldclaimer is your typical, let's just make a model and give him a name situation. But he's got a little bit of a story to him.
I'm raising my hand because is Haarken Worldclaimer's model possibly the most frequently converted?
Oh my gosh, I was literally about to say that.
Like, how many people have picked up a Haarken Worldclaimer off of eBay, don't even know his name, and they're like, well, that's going to be a champion with jump pack.
Yep, and we didn't even get one revealed to us until 2024 this year, right?
Yeah, he's going in my army too.
Yeah, doesn't mean he's still not going to be converted in other people's armies to play that model. But man, the drip on this model is just chef's kiss. I tell you, your Haarken is one of your best painted models too, out of your army.
I really like him. I like the whole idea of him.
Yeah,
he's got such an absurd title.
Yeah,
Haarken Worldclaimer, Herald of the Apocalypse.
He is.
What does that mean?
Well, let me tell you, sir. He is spearheading the Black Legion charge on behalf of Abaddon himself. He is the so-called Herald of the Apocalypse and the proclamator of Abaddon's reign, because Haarken, not like a space wolf, he doesn't boast. He is not like a howling griffin who makes oaths of moment. He makes promises and he upkeeps them. That is his deal. That is his oath. Those are his promises, and he is here to make those promises to end the Imperium of Man. Every time Haarken, much like on this world of Vigilis, for his first premiere, launches his spear out from the sky, and once it lands on the ground, he proclaims that the world shall fall in 80 days and 80 nights on behalf of Abaddon the Despoiler and his Black Legion.
He puts a time frame on it?
He puts a very specific time frame on it, and he does do it.
That's insanity.
Man, and he's like that. He's like when a baseball player calls a shot, this is him.
Do we have any background on him? Or is he, like you say, where we're going to make a cool guy and give him a name, and then the story starts now? Or do we have some where he comes from, what he did?
We don't know where he comes from. We don't know who his Primarch is. We don't know where his gene seed from. We don't even know if he's a Legionary. He could just be some random homeboy Ultramarine successor that quit his chapter and signed up for the Black Legion. We don't know.
I love the we don't knows.
That is a pretty good.
Is it okay that there can be some we don't knows?
I mean, the Codex Astartes does not support this action.
I know they don't, but man, the Chaos team sure seems to. We've got Cypher, whose whole deal is we don't know.
Yeah.
We got Haarken, who's just here, and he's a badass.
Got the Lost Primarchs.
And what about it, right?
Yeah, everything. So to give you some frame of reference, Haarken is a Chaos Lord and Jump Pack. He is Abaddon's right-hand man in the front lines. He doesn't stand next to Abaddon. He is right up front. He is a leader of men, and he is a scholar. The man is well-read.
Question. So Abaddon is the War Master, right?
Yes.
He's got Fabulous Bill. He's got Haarken. Who else is in that little, main squad running stuff?
Well, I'm going to correct you. Abaddon does not have Fabulous Bile. He works with Fabulous Bile. Fabius Bile. Gosh, you got me saying it. But that's great. He works with Fabius Bile. Haarken Worldclaimer has full-on drank the Abaddon Kool-Aid. He is his lieutenant. In the past, Abaddon has had 4 lieutenants who help him lead the Black Legion out.
Oh, yeah. So one of those is Haarken.
Haarken is actually not even one of them. He's just one of his right-hand man, but his most devout and fight-first believer. He is his... If Abaddon were a general, then Haarken is his line officer.
Would you say Haarken is the tip of the spear?
Clap, clap, clap. Silent cricket noises.
I'm proud of myself for that.
That was terrible. Okay. So, Haarken is fully drank the Chaos Kool-Aid, and to give you some frame of reference, he does bite into that little bit of lore about the Raptors for the Chaos Space Marines. They were once the veteran soldiers of the Astartes during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, but have since built themselves up as sort of the elite in the Chaos Space Marines. You know, you would think it'd be Terminators, right? But these guys, they take personal pride in what they do. They strike at the supply lines. They take off the heads of the leaders. They go wherever the battle is thickest, find that chink in the armor, and shred it to pieces. And that is what Haarken, in his essence, does from a leadership point. He flies from the sky with his raptors in tow, looks for that chink in the armor, whether it's a supply line, reinforcements and movement, or a backroom war council. And he strikes and hits it hard, much like the Sons of Horus and Abaddon do, like with Terminators. You know, Horus loved that spearhead operation. Even his ships flew in it. And now we've got a guy like this. We don't even know who he is. We don't know where he's from. He could be a son of Horus. He could have been a Luna Wolf.
Question. So, jump packs in 40K.
Yes.
They're not... I mean, are they jump packs or are they jet packs or like...
They're more of a burst. They're not as much of a, let's fly.
Yeah, they're kind of like hopping around,
how heavy
right?
a Space Marine is.
Sure.
Exactly.
They kind of like are hopping around.
Yeah. But Raptors, being corrupted slightly by the warp, many of them fall prey to the machinations of the, like I said, radiation of the warp. They get eagle-eyes to better see distant prey so that they can strike fast and hard upon them, or their blood and their veins mix with the fuel concoctions of their jetpacks, giving them the true power of flight.
That's so stinking cool. They are... Gosh, is this true? Am I lying to the people? I think it's true. They're my favorite unit in my army. Haarken and his raptors.
You really do like them.
I bring them
Didn't you just get like a
every
second unit?
single time. Well, I've got 10 raptors, and when I'm playing a match play game, I bring Haarken in all 10. And in my crusade list, I've got Haarken in 5.
Need it.
And then once the new Chaos Lord and Jump Pack comes out, I'm gonna have Haarken in 5 with one, and that guy in 5 with the other, and we'll have double raptor attack.
Yeah,
which will be super fun.
That sounds
Yeah, well,
like a buzzsaw.
Because they deep strike too.
Yeah, they do.
So you jump them in, or you set them on the board, and they move 12, and they fly around, and they charge you, and they got the Raptor Shock thing where you get your tank shock essentially for however many of them there are, which when that's Haarken in 10.
Yeah, your Haarken just wrecks face, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm no mathematician,
that spear.
But 4 up on each model, that's 11 of them. Every now and then you hit 6 or 7, that's mortal wounds, and now we're going to chop you up. It's great.
Now, I want to go back to something I said before. He is a studied, learned man. I don't want you to think he's a rampaging savage who just strikes at the enemy. He is studied, he's learned, he's educated, and he is self-educated. He has studied the Grimoire Nostromo, the vilest book written in King's blood by the Primarch Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords. He's unearthed the remnants and shreds of the clotted scrolls, the threats growled on paper by the Primarch Angron before he fell to the machinations of the Blood God and their berserker rage. And he even delved into the dreaded Book of Magnus, even losing a small part of his sanity just to do so.
I guess if you're a functionally immortal Primarch, you have time to write some books, don't you?
I mean, they were pretty much demigod generals, so got to record the ways of war somehow.
I suppose.
I mean, he is... Oh, man, I've even heard of, like, Abaddon just, like, checking his security cam footage, and there's Haarken just wrecking face, and he's just like, yeah, I really didn't need to check on him. And then he just, like, flips the next ones.
Do we know anything about his Hell Spear?
Not really.
Do we know anything about the what's called the Herald's Talon on his data claw?
Nope.
Just a giant... what do they call the talons?
The lightning claws?
Lightning claw, yeah. But his is like... It looks... It's more similar to the Talon of Horus that Abaddon carries than a little old lightning claw on a raptor.
Fair. It is made from Great Crusade technology.
He tears them up, man.
Be that. But yeah, that's all we know about Haarken. He shows up to Vigilus, and ever since then, every planet he fights, he plows that spear into the ground, declares the world shall fall in 80 days and 80 nights, and so far he has not let us down since. Screaming from the sky, wrecking eardrums with his Voxcaster, taking out heroes of the Imperium with his Hellspear, and clawing down wave after wave of Imperial Guardsmen. He is the tip of Abaddon's Black Legion. I
just imagine him like, did you ever watch the various Gundam shows?
Yeah, of course I did.
Like when they would get in space, just flitting around with their laser swords, chopping up these scrubs in what amounts to a tank spaceship, just slaughtering everybody.
Just the epic hero moment.
He's
Hero Hammer.
Just flying loop-de-loops around.
Hero Hammer. Let's say it. He's Hero Hammer.
Yeah. And then hit the ground to recharge jetpack, and then everything explodes in the air.
Basically, it's just the cinematic moment where he just looks up, sheathes his blade, and then everyone behind him explodes.
So great. It's so great.
So, I just thought I'd mention a few things about him. Not just him, but just in relevance to the game.
Well, I've got questions about that crusade.
Okay.
And I don't know how much you know about that crusade setting.
Not too much. I didn't look into it as deep as I wanted to.
So there was this Vigilus Crusade
yes.
rules and book.
With lots of detachments, enhancements, and different battles.
And this is 8th edition Crusade rules, I guess?
8th edition.
Okay. I imagine there's plenty of Crusade fluff that went with that. So Abaddon succeeds, Haarken succeeds in destroying that planet, presumably.
Presumably.
So I wonder, does that crusade go on and they manage to stop him, or does he just end up needing to go do other stuff at some stage and everybody's just happy to have survived? We might have to research and touch on this one next week.
Well, I did research the Vigilus, and Vigilus still exists. So I guess he didn't do it. And I know for a fact that Nockman Gauntlet is still, under Imperial control. So I guess he didn't do it. But I mean, still, he's an awesome character. Awesome model. And he gets kit bashed for Night Lords bits all the time. Yeah,
all the time. He's so good. He's got a little tassel of skulls for no apparent reason.
Oh yeah. And I mean, how much does it suck to be a Night Lords player? I saw this meme earlier, and it was the Patrick Star talking to Manta Ray, dude. And it's like, is this a new Night Lords character? And then it's Games Workshop saying, no, it's Black Legion. And he's like, but he buffs Raptors and debuffs leadership. Games Workshop. Yes. And he's like, and Night Lords specialize in leadership debuffs and buffing Raptors. And he's like, well, it makes sense to me. And then he goes, then by all accounts, this is a Night Lords character. No, it's Black Legion.
Here's a secret. It's all Black Legion.
Yeah, you could just, and it could be your personal lore. How about this? Who do you think is his Primarch? Like, what legion do you think he could hail from? Because it is a mystery. Led to our interpretation. What is your canon since you play him?
I think that he's past all that.
Ooh.
I think that he and Abaddon both are past all that.
You drank all the Kool-Aid.
They're not worried about the Primarchs. They're not worried about any of this anymore.
No hang-ups, no.
Yeah, now it's everybody come over here.
Bandit Brothers.
Put on this black armor.
Hang out with demons.
Paint that trim gold. Right, that's right. Shalaxi will be here at 5. and we've got some faces to wreck.
Slanesh is sending some demonettes over later.
We're all going to have a big party, but also we're going to bring these tanks. We're going to bring all this organization. We're going to deploy our stupid teleport Homer and investigate our signals like good little soldiers. We're Ultramarines, untethered from all that bureaucratic nonsense.
No morals, no ethics. We just fight because we wanna.
Well, and
to see the world burn.
And to tear down the Imperium because it's not working, is it?
No, it's not. So, you know what's interesting to me? If you look at a lot of the Primarchs that went, to the dark side, a lot of them are bald. And some of them had that, trait with their gene seed where their Space Marine sons would take on traits like that, like Horus. Horus looks a lot like, Abaddon looks a lot like Horus. One of the other sons of Horus that fought alongside Abaddon was called Little Horus because he looked much like Horus.
It's got to be a tough way to live.
Yeah. I mean, you look at all of them. Raven Guard, Blood Angels, lots of different Space Marines look like their Primarch. But I'm going to say, this guy looks awfully pale. And a lot of people think, Night Lords. This guy likes terror tactics. This guy likes striking from the sky, filling fear into the hearts of the Imperium. He's even quoted as saying, a world stricken by fear is already half won.
I have a question. Maybe you're going there with it, but Conrad Kurz,
Night Lords
Primarch,
yep,
has a 30K model.
Yep.
Has he been seen in 40K?
We'll have to do a lore pod about him.
I may be speaking from a pet place of ignorance. Could Haarken be Conrad Kurz?
I'm not even going to touch that comment section. You go after him. But we will fix his ignorance another time, folks. My theory is that he is actually a son of Magnus. A thousand son.
But didn't get turned to dust?
Yeah. Well, think about it. He not only is he a very sound-minded leader, very gifted in combat strategies, he's also very looked into books. He managed to read the Book of Magnus and live?
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to have any interest in psychic nothing. That's why he's running folks through with a spear.
Fair. But he is interested in knowledge, some would say.
I suppose.
Could be a word bearer. No, no way he's a word bearer. No one cares.
two in your face for that.
Yeah. So, Haarken Worldclaimer. What do you think, Shane?
He's one of the coolest in my army, and I'm glad to have him. Mine, let me tell you, will never be getting kit bashed. Oh, but they may take him away. They're gonna legend his model. That's okay. It's all right. You know where he'll go? Right on my shelf, surrounded by his raptors.
There you go.
Until he is invariably brought back. Because that's what we do.
We play for fun, not just tourneys.
We play with our toys.
Yep. We spent the money on them. Might as well.
It's time for our exclusive Space Marine segment of the week.
Yep.
I got nothing.
I've got one.
Wonderful.
So, it is a very known fact the Night Lords love themselves some terror tactics. Love torture, love murder, love decorating themselves in the flayed skin, bones, and organs of their enemies to strike fear into their enemies, sometimes the Imperium of Man. But, did you know that while they fight these enemies and hunt them in the dark depths of the warp, or their ships, or wherever have you, they strike at them with blades and knives just so that they can lick the blood from their blades and relive the fear and exhilarating memory of the terror instilled in these individuals by them.
Them boys, Freddy Krueger.
They kind of are. Stay fanatical, folks.